Do you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Hello, everybody. This is Harold Green of Bright Tree Financial Group, and it is time to stop doing what you hate. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. I'm doing all right. Things aren't going the way I want them to go in one or two areas, but c'est la vie. And, you just got to keep working hard at it, and eventually things will go your way. But you can't give up, and you can't quit. And one of my favorite sayings is a quote by this guy named Van Crouch, used to be the chaplain for the Chicago Bears, and he would say, "You're not defeated when you lose. You're defeated when you quit." And one of the things about life is you just can't quit. And I just want to encourage you folks today. If you're dealing with something, pray about it. Ask the Lord how to deal with it, and don't stop. Do not stop until you win. That's the thing. Do not stop until you win. And I want you to begin to adopt the mindset going into this day and for the rest of your life that the only alternative is me winning. That's it. Now, of course, that's not to the disadvantage. Like it's not to the detriment of somebody else. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. But you must have the mindset that I'm going to win, and no matter what. And you just got to ignore the doubters and people who say stuff like, "Well, what if it wasn't meant to be? What if that's not what God wants for you? What if this and what if that? And there's no guarantees, and there's no this, and there's no. You know what? That's okay. Those people can have that idea, and I'm going to tell you why. Today's show, the title is Retirement Myths and Misinformation. And there's so much garbage out there in the world. And because we're so susceptible to getting mind viruses and just starting to believe bad stuff. And it's just insane. And I want to talk to you about the 97-3 rule, which is basically this: 97% of people in America do not have enough to retire on that will last them their entire lives. Only 3%. And that number is gradually shrinking every single day. And I want to talk to you guys about or you all folks, as they say in the South, y'all. I want to talk to you about the causes of the 97-3. Is it bad luck, or is it bad choices? I don't believe in luck. So I want to talk to you about some of the stuff that you can't control. And I'm going to go ahead and put this out there that we just officially terminated our college funding practice. We still have clients who are in the program, and we're going to honor our commitment to helping them get their kids to and through college. But our system has changed in how we go about helping families get their kids to and through the right college and to a successful career. I started making that switch back around COVID because I just kind of saw the writing on the wall. And it was kind of sad at the time of what I saw. My last child was in college, and I think she what is this? This is 2023? So I think it was somewhere around there that she graduated her undergrad, and then she's getting her master's at UC Berkeley and planning and city planning. Super happy for her, whatnot. But we just kind of saw what was happening, what was going on, even with the kids that we were sending off to college. And I don't want to beat this up, but it's one of the major reasons why 97% of the people in this country will not have enough to live on. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong between the time you get out of high school and the time you retire. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. So I want to talk about some of it because I think people fly by the seat of their pants. They fly blind. They have no idea what's going on, and they're doing it all on a whim. And when you do things on a whim, I'm telling you, bad luck will find you. That I don't believe in bad luck personally, but I believe that bad circumstances will find you. because bad choices lead to bad circumstances. All right. That's a fact. So I want to talk about this wrong college thing, because there's a lot of things I want to talk about here. I mean, there's a laundry list that I put together that I want to share with you. The first thing we're going to start with is the wrong college. And I'm starting to find people going to the wrong schools for what they're really cut out and what they're meant to be. They're choosing schools for the wrong reasons. They're getting into college the wrong way. And what do I mean by that? I have literally seen pretty much the dumbing down of our education system. Children are not being properly prepared for college, but you can't flunk them in high school anymore because no child is left behind. So what you're doing is you're passing people through the system because you don't have space. It's the same thing with our criminal justice system. They don't have space. I'm not going to get into that. We don't have space in our schools. So instead of building new schools and separating the kids from the ones that are doing well in school and the ones that are not, and just separating them out and saying, hey, you know what? Here's a school over here for you. It's alternative or whatnot. Go over there. But we're putting everybody together. It is insane. And we're keeping our biggest and our best and our brightest back. Corporations are trying to find people. They can't find people with the skill set that they need, right? It is insane. So kids are getting into college. Everybody's getting an A. Colleges are giving people A's. What does that spell for the workforce? I mean, you have people that are incompetent coming out of the college door, and corporations can't survive like that. So what are they doing? They're building their own system. They're building their own programs. And then what I find people taking the wrong job. They're coming out of college $200,000-$300,000 in debt and making $50,000-$60,000 a year. That's why so many people are disenchanted, right? They're sad. They're unhappy. They're upset. They feel like they've been betrayed. I was promised all this stuff. Now I'm coming out and they're not making money. So they're starting off. Now we're talking retirement myths and information, but I'm telling you, this is how we got there. I'm going down the list of how we got there, right? The wrong job, right? Then they start to combat the problem, living in the wrong place. They move to the wrong city. Then it gets even worse from there. They end up marrying the wrong person. Then they then they buy the wrong house, and then they start having kids at the wrong time. I mean, you would think that, hey, how can we even avoid this? And one of the things I do with my college grads is I sit them down and the first thing we talk about is kids, right? I don't even talk about retirement with them. We talk about kids, because I know how you raise kids and how you finance their education. It has been one of the number one things that derail any hopes of a successful retirement, right? Arguing about private school versus public school, arguing about, state college versus private college. I mean, just, it's a lot of bad stuff, right? And some of that stems from, marrying the wrong person, or you're really not compatible. But you think everything is working out, but then crap hits the fan when you find out that, hey, my kids aren't going to public school. They're going to go to private, and you're going to have to figure out a way to pay for it, Johnny. Tough. I've seen it. And it's hard. And I think what is necessary is sitting down with a great financial planner who can work alongside of you to have a great vision for your financial future and your life. These things are all important, because in these meetings, you're going to talk about things like impulse financial decisions, right? Acting on emotion. You're going to talk about things like that. We're going to have these conversations, right? How do you make your financial decisions? Like what have you gone through? What is your ideology of money? What is your philosophy of wealth? How do you think? How do you make decisions? Are you acting on emotions? Because if you're investing in the market and you want out because you're scared because of what you see and what you hear, again, this leads to the 97%. People getting in the market at the wrong time, getting out the market at the wrong time, starting a business. Oh my God, it can be a disaster if it's not done the right way. If you don't have the right business plan, if you don't have the right marketing, if you don't have the right people, you don't have the right team, you're not going after the right clientele. I've seen many businesses fail. I've had businesses that failed, but just because my businesses failed, it didn't make me a failure, right? Again, my attitude was, I'm not going to stop at this until I win. That the only alternative is for me to win. I wasn't defeated. when my business has failed, I would have been defeated if I quit and I gave up. Then I just, that would have been the end of me. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. I wouldn't be giving you this right now. The other reason for the 97% is financial illiteracy. It boggles my mind how much people really don't know about money. Simple, basic facts about money, interest rates, things like that, right? And one of the things I see, and I'm not going to beat up on anybody about this because it's a very important thing to me. I've talked about it in previous podcast shows about faith and finances, and I see a lot of people in that are in faith and how they handle their finances. Sometimes it just blows my mind because some of them have like one or two ideologies about money and faith. One may say money is evil. You shouldn't be chasing after money. You only need this much, and then you don't need any more than that. Money is evil. Money's not good. Or I see people giving away a lot of their money or wasting it, and then pointing the finger at God and saying, yeah, God's going to work it all out. I'll go buy this house over here. I'll go do this. I'll go do that. And I'll start this company, and God's going to work it all out. He has good plans for me, and he's not going to let me fail. Yeah, man, but you got to get up at 3:00 in the morning and go put in the work. You got to get it in, because God ain't just going to get it out if you don't get it in. That stuff, like, it just blows my mind, the stuff I hear people say. And, if I like the person and I'm interested in building a relationship with them, and, I don't say anything right away because I know that I'll have a chance to kind of just show them something different over time, right? You try to beat people over the head from day one with all your knowledge. That's not good. You're going to scare people away. And people, you got to give people time to warm up to you about stuff. That's important. Wrong financial advisor. Oh man, this is one of the things that scares me the most. If there's anything that keeps me up at night, it's me thinking that I'm a bad financial advisor or me making bad decisions and hurting my clients. That's my thing. I do worry about things for my clients so that they don't have to. I do take on a lot of that stress myself so that they don't have to. But it's a scary thing. It's a very scary thing. But I've seen people come in to me and basically the financial advisor they had, it might not have been they might not have been a bad person, but it was just the wrong fit for them, because that financial advisor wasn't able to communicate certain things to them that are important. You see, your financial advisor is like a coach, right? The difference between winning teams and losing teams a lot of times is the coaching, not necessarily the talent. Because you can take a team that went 1-10 last season, fire the coach, and bring in a new one. And next thing you know, they improved to 5-5. You become a 500 team, and then and 2 years later they're in the playoffs. So a lot of times it's about your coach communicating to you important things, and then being able to get you to understand these things. Sometimes financial advisors get fired. Sometimes clients get fired. And it's just because you're not a good team, you're not a good fit. And then sometimes what I see is not only do they have the wrong financial advisor, but they've made wrong investment choices. They just bought the wrong stuff at the wrong time. And another thing I see no real understanding of how finance or the banking system works, like financing a house or financing cars or financing college if you had to. Leverage. And in my last show, we talked about the philosophy of debt versus leverage. A lot of people really have no understanding of that, and they're not even interested in it. So I tell you, in order to avoid all of these things, you need to make sure you have the right people on your team. So that's how we got there, the 97 versus 3. Now I want to get into something that just kind of compounds the problem, right? You're going from bad to worse. And one of the first questions I see people asking me all the time about my retirement is like, hey, how much do I need to retire? If I can just get $1 to $2 million, man, I'll be set. I'll be good to go. Look, I get requests all the time for stuff like, hey, I need another 50 grand. Hey, I need another 60 grand. Hey, this thing just blew up. I need 100 grand. Hey, this thing, like, life will happen. Life will happen in retirement, and you don't really know how much you're going to need. But the thing is you got to plan it out. What is the worst thing that can happen in retirement? You spend too much and you can't get that under control, right? You spend too much and you can't get that under control. Now, if you have a lot of money, then yeah, you might be a little bit okay spending a little bit more than you should because you have a lot, you have enough to cover it, right? But then the other thing I see is, when should I retire? A lot of mergers and acquisitions going on right now. I mean, a lot of emotional stress that's going on in the workforce right now. You have the Gen Z, the millennials, the Gen X, the baby boomers. I mean, we're all trying to figure out how life works. And what I've seen is I've seen a big disconnect in this thing where it's like, you're over this age. Oh, you're irrelevant. Oh, you're under this age. Oh, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Oh, you're this. And people have become tribal. And it really bothers me to see that. So what I tell my clients is like, look, you're a great asset to your company, but when it comes to the point where they're just treating you like, you're not hip, you're not young, and they start catering to the younger generation or vice versa, it's time to reconsider your contribution to that firm. It's time to reconsider where you're giving your life. You're trading hours of your life for dollars. You're trading your skill for money. And you have to understand, like, hey, look, should I go into consulting? Should I get the hell out of here and just go into consulting where they really need my expertise? Now, there is really no age on that, because you can be 55 and say, hey, I want out of here. And then maybe we got to talk about starting a business and how to come up with a business plan, how to write that up. I think up until last year, I would rewrite my business plan every single year. And I did that just in case I had to go to the bank and borrow money. Thankfully, I'm in a position where I don't need to go back to the bank and borrow any money from them. I have lines of credit already. I have money saved in certain places for my company. So I don't need to use them anymore. So I don't really need to redo my business plan every year. I just simply need to make a commitment to what I'm already doing and make a commitment to getting better at it every day. The other thing is, where should we retire? Some people say, oh man, retiring in Hawaii is expensive. And one of the things I tell people is this: one of your biggest boosts to your lifestyle is going to be when you stop becoming a W-2 employee, especially if you are a high income earning W-2 employee. FICA, Medicare, man, then you got to like pound your 401k just to reduce your taxes. You're talking like 40% of your check gone, right? And that's insane. State taxes, right? So we decided real early, right? I can't say real early, but I mean, for years and years and years, we've been living in the state of Hawaii. And up until a certain point, their taxes just became one of the things where you look at that and say, how effective is it really? Like, if I want to be in the 3% versus the 97%, and I'm giving X number of dollars to the state I live in because their tax rates are so high, what if I could take that same money and then put it in my retirement? That's going to help me get to a better position in life. And so the question becomes, do you wait until you retire to figure out where you are going to retire, or do you do it in the reverse? I always thought that we were going to retire in Hawaii. And I bought my condo that we live in now as a retirement home because it's just so close to everything and it's so convenient. And I was like, if we buy this place, man, we're right here. We got the drugstore when we get old. If we're on medication, we can just walk out the door and like walk right into the store and pick up our meds. There's a grocery store right behind the house. I mean, we don't even have to drive anymore. So I thought, man, this is cool. And then I thought, wow, okay, I'm not retired yet. There's a long ways to get there. How do we make it even better? So yes, someday I probably will retire part-time in Hawaii, part-time here, maybe part-time somewhere else. But you have to think about these things before you get there. Because when you get there, the cost just may be, it may be out of range for you. So I talk to clients about that now. Do you want to retire in a foreign country? What is that going to look like? Right. And so sometimes it may be wise to buy a place somewhere and then maybe rent it out. If you're going to retire there someday, maybe we can talk about those things. Another myth is like, you should pay off your house before you retire because then you'll have more cash flow. And I'm like, really? Really? I mean, I've talked about that. Go back and find that podcast show about paying off your house versus paying off your house or not paying it off before retirement. What's the difference? Run the numbers, right? I found that people who are early in their careers, if they don't pound their 401k and then they just pay off their house and then they pound their 401k, things look a little bit different. Whereas some people, they pound their 401k and then they pay some on their mortgage. And then towards the end, they're like, oh my God, they look around and then they start paying extra towards the house. Cause like, I heard that if I pay off the house, I have more cash flow. And I'm like, if interest rates are low, 2 and 3%, and your mortgage is $3,000 a month, but then if you refinance the rest of it, it goes down to $900 a month. That's money you can save. That's why I created Rapid Retire, cash flow management, cash reserve systems, income generation, funding 401k up to retirement. I see that. Then I tell clients, look, all right, you can only buy mutual funds into your 401k. All right. And if you're only going to add another 10, 15 grand to your 401k, and you're going to retire like next year, depending on when you retire in the year, it may not be that big of a deal for you tax wise. You might as well take that money and do something else with it now. So we can talk about that. I hear things like always take the matching, always take the matching. Well, if you take the matching and you're putting in the 401k and you have bad investment choices in the 401k, things like mutual funds that ain't never moved for 40 years, how is that helping you? Again, 97% versus the 3%, 97 versus the 3. People always get mad about the 1%ers, they need to be taxed more. No, the 97% in some cases need to wake the hell up. Sorry, that's a fact. Don't hate the small percent because they're doing the right things and you're not. If you fall in the 97%, wake up. It's not too late. Okay. You don't always have to take the match, especially if you have bad investment choices. And that's why if you have somebody to sit down with you and look at your investment choices in your 401k, they can tell you if they're the right advisor. The 3% to 4% withdrawal rate rule. Okay. The advisor says I can't take no more than 3% out of my 401k, 4% out of my 401k. Otherwise, I'm going to hit portfolio failure. Yeah, all day, if you're sitting there invested in mutual funds, right? Underperforming mutual funds, that all of them have like the same top 10 stocks, but they spread it out so thin. It's like 1 teaspoon of peanut butter on 5 loaves of bread. You may not get any peanut butter on some pieces. And that's why I say short-term, long-term, intermediate buckets in the Rapid Retire financial planning process will help you avoid the portfolio failure. Now, the one thing I can't prevent is like catastrophes in the world, right? If something bad happens, we can plan for it. And I also I can't outrun you outspending your portfolio. I can't do anything about that. I can talk to you about it, but I can't keep you from burning through all your money. That's a psychological thing. And I can't help with that. I can talk to you about that a little bit, but I'm going to refer you to get some help to kind of find out why are you spending so much. Risk tolerance should be set to low 5 years out and throughout retirement. That's the quickest way to hit portfolio failure. You are underinvested in the hottest market at the wrong time because of a theory, the 60-40 portfolio. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. You have to understand where you are and how your portfolio should be built based on your financial plan and your goals. Paying penalties on early withdrawals is wrong. You should never take money early on your 401k or you should never take money out. Look, there's something called a 72T. It's the systematic withdrawal of your 401k. You can look that up. And I have had clients who had money that they were too young. It's large sums that are too young. They took it out and now, they need to take it and do things with it. So we came up with we didn't create the 72T. It was out there. It's an IRS rule, 72T. It allows you to take systematic distributions. It's either 5 years or 59 and a half, whichever comes later. Okay. So I have clients on 72T right now. We're taking monies out of some accounts and putting in other accounts. And then we're paying the taxes on the money for them through their accounts. It's a system, a strategy, cash flow management, important. Then I see maxing out the 401k and then ignoring other investment opportunities. Like, somebody said, why are you investing in that stuff? That stuff is scary. I can lose all my money. And I'm like, no, that's okay. Let's back up here. Let's back up. I don't want to hear about what somebody said to you on CNBC or MSNBC or CNN or whatever, Fox. So I don't care what they say. My job is not to care about what they tell you on TV. I could care less what they tell you on TV. My job is to do the research and figure out where we should be and how we should be doing it. Now, maxing out the 401k in certain situations is not wrong, especially if you can trade options or you can trade stocks in your 401k, or they have really good, high-performing mutual funds in the 401k. Vanguard may have one or two, but man, Fidelity, oh my God, some of their Some of their mutual funds are just phenomenal. And when I can't buy stocks in my client's 401k and they have Fidelity, I'm in some of Fidelity's, I can't say which ones. I'm in there all day. I may put their entire 401k in that one mutual fund. Why? Because I do the research on the stocks that are inside the mutual fund. And if the mutual fund company thinks this highly of the stocks that are inside, and they have this percentage allocated, and I'm maxing out those same stocks in my rapid retire financial planning process 10X or whatever we call it on the other side, then yeah, we're going to do that all day. Now, we talk about diversification, and that's another myth. A lot of people are overly diversified. Like I said, it's the teaspoonful of peanut butter on 5 loaves of bread. We don't want to do that. We're talking 97% versus the 3%. I want you in the 3%. And eventually that 3% is going to come 1%. That 1% is going to become 0.5%. And that's going to be scary. And you need to be in a situation where all of your income is not going to be subject to the income tax rules of the United States of America. So I wanted to put that show out for you. And I wanted to put this information out for you. Then if you're seriously interested in becoming one of the 3%, call me, get on my schedule, 808-521-4401. Talk to my assistant, Beverly. Check me out on the internet, brightfg.com. Check out the Rapid Retire Financial Planning process because, folks, we got a lot of work to do. And I want you to have the mentality that you're not going to quit until you win. If that's you, let's talk. So I hope the show has been a real blessing to you. And again, it is time to stop doing what you hate. And until next time, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.